Another month of reading down, and we're gonna talk about all the books that I read in August. To be honest, I feel like it was not the most exciting reading month, although there's a good stack of books here. You'll see. I feel like I was looking at the books I've read this month and I was like, huh, feels like I've read more than that. Because the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books I feel like are basically one. The vlog I read these in should be up before this video. The Heartstopper series, which if you are unfamiliar, it is a graphic novel, young adult romance. I bought the first one out of curiosity. I had never read a graphic novel before, and I really didn't know what to expect. It just sounded like fun. I was like, let's just try it out. I read it in a half an hour, and then I immediately went back to Barnes & Noble and bought the rest of the books, and within like 24 hours, read all 5. Because once I started, I physically could not stop. It was, first of all, the graphic novels, I really feel like I'm gonna go and dip my toes in the graphic novel world because I had so much freaking fun reading these. I absolutely loved the graphic aspect of it, and I just felt like it was the most sweet, wholesome, heartwarming, fun, just good time. It was just a good time. It is about 2 boys in high school, and it can feel very young. They do talk about a decent amount of mental health issues, and they kind of, I feel like they almost deliver it in a way of like, if you were gonna Google it, what like the main article on Google would define it as. Like, I felt like it was very definition based and like delivering the information about these mental health issues, like they were delivering it to somebody who had no idea what these issues were. And so I think that makes this feel very young. I was like, you know, I'm 28 years old. I'm well versed in these issues. I didn't need that, but I could see how if somebody younger was reading these things, how that would be very beneficial. So it did, that aspect of it felt very young to me. I really have no complaints, and I am kind of talking about them all together because I just feel like in my mind they are one. There is a 6th one coming out in December, I think, which will be the last one. So the series is almost done. Honestly, if you haven't read it yet, I would wait till all of them are out if you are somebody who's gonna like binge them like I did, because now I just feel like I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I will have waited for this book for like 4 months and I'm gonna read it in like 20 minutes, you know? So I wish I knew that beforehand because I probably would have just waited. Yes, again, I don't think I would rate them individually because again, they're all in my mind one thing, but I would literally give this series 5 stars. Like, I have no complaints. It's just, I just loved it. If you watch the vlog where I read these, I think you would be able to tell that I felt that way. Okay, next up we have a reread, just Icebreaker. I've never looked at their faces up so close before. They're so cute. Anastasia's gorgeous. Wow. I listened to it actually this time around and I loved every second of it. I love this book. I love these characters. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people feel very differently about this book, but I have nothing bad to say about it. Like, to me, it's fun. It's not that freaking deep. It's a good time, but it's fun and it's funny. The whole found family with this hockey team and everything is just, it's so good. All of the characters are so good to me and I love it. But it had been, oh my gosh, when did I read this book? Like over a year and a half ago. So I really didn't remember all of the side characters and who was who. I wanted to refresh my memory to move on with the series, especially with the 3rd book coming out, or I think it's already out now. So I was like, let me just listen to it so maybe I can just refresh my memory on all these characters, and I'm so glad that I listened to it. I'm just so glad I listened to it because I literally had the best time listening to it. I don't know, something about listening to it hit different for me. I feel like audiobooks are very hit and miss for me, and this one I think was my favorite audiobook I've ever listened to. Like, I just had so much fun listening to it. I could not stop listening to it. Actually, I listened to it in like 2 days or something like that because I just couldn't stop. Memory is all refreshed. I know who's who now and I love it. I love this book and the series even more now that I've re-listened to this. Reread it, listened to it. Next up, we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I am trying to catch up on all of Miss Emily's books. Honestly, I feel like out of all of her books, this was the one that I was like least excited about. And I actually ended up loving this so much more than I expected. And I'm just realizing now that I didn't give a rating on Icebreaker. Be honest with me. Do you really care about star ratings that much? What did I give this? I didn't rate this. Okay, helpful. I would probably rate this like a 3.5. I feel like when I finished it, it was probably a 4, but I really haven't thought about it too much since. The next video I post will include a more in-depth review of this book. I really had so much fun. Things didn't necessarily really bother me when I was reading it, but it was when I was done that I was left feeling so irritated with the main character, Nora. I guess that's maybe not like totally fair to compare all of Emily Henry's books to each other, but I feel like everybody does, right? Like, I've read Beach Read and I've read Happy Place. I love Beach Read. I really want to reread that because I haven't read that in, gosh, like 2 years or something. I would be curious to see how I feel about it now. It was one of the first books I read when I got into reading. I would be interested to see how I feel about it now as a more experienced reader. And I really don't like Happy Place. I feel like I'm one of the few people on this planet who didn't like Happy Place. And one of the main reasons I didn't like Happy Place is because of, what was her name, Harriet? I hated her and she ruined the book for me. And I feel a little bit like Nora didn't ruin the book for me, but I was just a little bit like, why do these women like suck so bad? I don't like them. Loved Charlie and I loved the setting and I loved her sister and I loved, you know, I loved everything else about it. Not in a way that will stick with me forever and ever and ever, but I had a really good time while I was reading it. It just makes me nervous to read her other books because I feel like 2 out of 3 have not been, I feel like I'm sounding really negative. I really like this book and I'm not like, I liked it way better than I liked Happy Place. So I'm just saying the female main characters, like for me, 2 out of 3, like I hated them. So I'm like, is this just how she writes women? Or is it just these specific ones and I just happen to, you know, I don't know. I'm still gonna give the rest of her books a chance. Next up, we have Summer Romance by Annabelle. Annabelle what? Annabelle what? Because I never hear anybody say this name the same way as the next person. It's by Annabelle. This book changed my life. I don't know. Like, this was a 5-star. This was such an easy 5-star. I knew I was ruined when I'm not an annotator, really. Like, sometimes I wish I was a little bit more. I just don't have the patience to like take the time to like sit down, because when I annotate, I want things to be straight and I want it to look good. And I'm not taking the time for that. When I'm reading, I'm binging, I'm flying through as fast as I physically can. I knew when I read the same thing so many times that I literally had to stand up and go get a pen so I could underline it. And I was like, I feel like I need to show this to my therapist. And I kept my pen with me the entire time I read this book. Not that I underlined things like crazy, but honest to God, I actually am gonna bring this to my therapist. I swear to God. I swear to God. Dude, the writing. Our main character in this book, Allie, is going through a divorce, and fun fact, I have been divorced myself. And so I just feel like I was really reading it and it was like, is this play about us? I don't feel like I've ever, dude, when I think about this book, it makes me want to cry, which is not like a sad book, but it's just like hits me in the feels so hard. It's like, I don't know how else to react other than tears. Oh my God, go to therapy in 2 days. I'm gonna bookmark these. I swear, no, like, I'm being so serious. I'm bringing this to therapy. I've never felt so seen. I'm actually losing my mind. I flipped through this book for so long that my camera stopped recording. I think you get the point. I love this book with everything I have. Listen, at the end of the day, like, I think I feel seen in such a specific and unique way with what I thought were very niche things. But regardless of that, I have no notes for this book. Like, the characters, amazing. The romance, beautiful. The writing, phenomenal. Everything from the pacing to the setting to the, I mean, just like, I have literally no notes. I'm pretty sure I also rant about this for an insanely long time in my vlog. I'm just, please read this book. Spoiler alert, my next video is gonna be me trying to like squeeze in my summer reads at the end of the year. I don't even think you need to read this in the summer. It's called Summer Romance. It's set in the summer. It's got the small town vibes, but it is so good that like I think it could hit anytime. Just read it. If you're watching this video in the winter or in the spring or in the fall and you haven't read this book, it's not long. That's the thing too, is it's funny. It's still fun. Like, it's just, okay, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up, I promise. The last book, Wildfire. If you don't already know, this is the next book in the series after Icebreaker. I decided to also mainly, I read a little bit, but mainly listen to it as well because something about this series on audio, I don't know what it is, but like this also, the audiobook hits so hard for me. Like, I did read a little bit of it, but I was preferring the audio, and I was just like listening to it while I was doing everything, and I was just like having a good ass time doing it. I feel for this book the same that I feel for Icebreaker. Like, I don't really have anything bad to say about it, although I don't feel like it's life-changing. I do though feel like it did touch on some heavier topics, but overall like the general vibe was just like fun. Summer camp, there's puppies, golden retriever puppies. That's important to know, that if you read this, there will be puppies. I would put a puppy on the cover. That would have been so much more fun. It's kind of so random and not really that important, but the epilogues in this and Icebreaker, like, I hated. I guess maybe I won't say. It's not like a spoiler, because come on, it's like an epilogue in a romance novel. The same things happen in every epilogue in every romance novel. It's just odd because like we go from college and then the epilogue just feels very different, and I'm just like, I feel like this is not necessary. I don't know, like, I'm not a big epilogue person, honestly, and sometimes I just am like, I shouldn't even read them. I know a lot of people don't. I can't help it because once it's there, like, I'm gonna read it, but I feel like they ruin it a lot, and I don't like the epilogues in these, but that doesn't really affect like the rest of the book for me. And I feel like sometimes I have a hard time kind of like reviews with books like this because it's just like, I had a good time. I don't really have anything bad to say. It's not a 5-star, maybe a 4, because I have nothing bad to say. Like, I had a good time all the way around. I am not somebody I think maybe that's really what it is. It's like, I am not somebody who's going to like nitpick the quality of the book. If I had a good time and I was entertained and nobody pissed me off, I'm good. Then I got nothing bad to say. And I feel like with most of these like rom-com type books, it is like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just always gonna be a good time. It's never that serious, even though they try to like throw in serious topics. It's never that deep. You know what I mean? Like, we're really just here for the vibes, the good times, the laughs, the banter, and the smut. That's exactly what this was. It's exactly what a few of these were. So now we are into September, which I was trying to kind of squeeze in some lighthearted summer rom-com type reads, which I probably am gonna have a few more to go in the beginning of September, but I am really excited to, I feel like it's been a long time since I've been into like fantasy and maybe some more like deeper emotional reads. I'm like looking at my TBR cart right now and I'm thinking like, that one's probably gonna make me cry and that one's probably gonna make me cry, and that's what I want. I want a little bit to like, for it to be chilly outside, and of course that's such a good fantasy. Fall and fantasy, but I want something that's gonna like make me feel things. So I want something that's gonna break my heart a little bit. Like, I don't know. Here's the thing with me too, is that like these sort of like lighthearted rom-coms, like I can get sick of if I read too many back to back, but I never get sick of them in the sense that like I'm always gonna need them around to like make me feel good after I read something more like maybe an intense fantasy or maybe like something that's gonna make me cry. I'm getting a little sick of the rom-coms right now. I'm definitely wanting to, yeah, move on to some reads with some more depth and then just sprinkle in the rom-coms. That is it for my yapping about the books books I read this past month. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and please let me know if you read these, if you like them, if you don't, what you think, if you agree with me, if you don't. And as always, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, and whatever else you feel like you want to do. And I will see you guys in my next video.